Bing! And we're live. It is the Ken Breck Scrum. It is Sam and Lara. Updates from me. I've just been working on website 1. The bug that Michael and I wrapped yesterday, I appear to have fixed it. Other little things. I think I just need a bit of refactoring, and that PR should be ready to go. I've been supporting the async voter folks. We've got the new update from Zhao now deployed on production. Yeah, various async voter folks now working on the other PR for being able to submit votes. So that's all well and good. Yeah, that's basically about the size of it. Lara, yourself?
Yeah, so from my side, I looked into the code climate issue that's happening on my pull request on local support.
Right.
I'm a bit blocked there because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing to get rid of it, because if I move it out the code, it stops working. So that's fine. And then on Met Plus, I need to go through all the merge conflicts again and fix those.
Yes. Now, on Met Plus, Pat was saying he was going to work through some of the merge conflicts on his machine earlier today. But I guess you haven't coordinated with him.
No, I haven't chatted to him as yet. I'll chat to him now.
Yeah, he may have some help for you on that front. Well, I was just going to look at. We've got a new. Oh, sorry, Lara. Anything else to report?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Great, excellent update. Thank you. We'll maybe have a chance to look at the local support thing at the end of the Scrum. We've got a new person joining the Scrum, Gonzalo. Welcome, Gonzalo. How are you doing today? Hi, Gonzalo there in the chat saying hello. Feel free to observe or join in. If you don't have audio, you can just sort of type into the group chat. Let us know about what's going on with you. If you're interested in getting involved in Agile Ventures, if you're maybe trying to come in from the Agile development using Ruby on Rails MOOC, where some people have assignments. I guess in the meantime, while Gonzalo puts himself together in the group chat, I will maybe just go to share my screen and we'll maybe have a little look at these code climate issues on the pull request, Lara. So I was just sort of pulling stuff down to get a copy of the code locally for me. If I just do that, I've got. Yeah, okay, so I've already had a version of it. Hopefully I don't have additional changes. I almost need to blow away that branch, but probably, it's going to be on Lara rather than Alex there. Yeah, so I've got your latest code. I'll just say, just in case Gonzalo couldn't hear or just didn't understand me speak so fast, do tell us a little about yourself. And it looks like somebody else has started another Scrum. Like I thought we got set up like somebody else had an out-of-date page. I wonder, it's German Labra. Are they actually German or Labra? No. I might just Firefox to that other Scrum and point out to that person that they're in the wrong place. You can see a double Scrum action here, and I just put an extra slash on there. Let's see if we can get the right place. Gonzalo is telling us he's from Chile, and his partner and all the homeworks. Oh, he's G Labra. So Gonzalo, if you do know G Labra, you might tell them that they've gone to the wrong place. I'm just about to see here to enter a second Scrum, double Scrumming here, double hangouting, dangerous maneuver. Hi, German. Can you hear me? Hello, German. You can hear me. I'll say hi in here as well. German. We've got other people, including Gonzalo, in a different Scrum. You've kind of started a second Scrum. I'll say, please come to this one. You've accidentally started a second Scrum. There we go. Come join us in above link. Okay, that's great. Okay, so there, we'll get rid of that one from Firefox. I'll just delete the accidental messages that went in there. German, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Greetings. I'll say welcome to German. We'll just let German get oriented. We'll just come back to, so this is the local support thing we're looking at there. I've got your code locally. The question that we looking at here is about the code climate failing checks. We're just checking with German. So German and Gonzalo, I get the sense that you are both people doing the agile development using Ruby on Rails course. Welcome to your first Scrum. Great to have you with us. Feel free to just observe. We've kind of gone around the Scrum. We've done the report. German, if you want to give us an update on what's happening with you in the text chat or in audio, that's all fine. And I guess maybe you guys want to vote on a story. Anyway, you let me know what you want. In the meantime, I'm just going to carry on helping Lara, Lara's one of our premium members, and she is she's done a pull request here on local support for the MOOC. That's one of the things, I know that's part of your assignment. Of course, so Lara's already been doing some voting on stories and so on, and she's now doing this. We're just looking at some code climate issues that have come up here. So that we can see that the tests are all passing on this, which is all great. But so we've had some code climate comments here. So we've got these 4 different things. And you were saying, I mean, are these all pretty much incomprehensible, Lara, or are they partly?
The two columns with map, I don't know where that came in from, because, I mean, I didn't touch that. I don't know why that error's come up there, the second one.
There's the second one here. The class has too many lines, this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't even worked in that one, so.
Well, let's just have a look. No, well, let's. So it looks like we can see here. So I think the issue here is that you've made a change to the volunteer ops control.
Okay.
And so, which is, I mean, I think a perfectly innocuous change, but it sort of tripped this issue of the class going from 100 lines to 101 lines.
Okay.
So it's kind of, I mean, there's the extent to which it's not particularly your fault. This is the problem with, automated systems like this, is that they're just following, heuristic guidelines. And yeah. So, I mean, it's something we can look. The other ones, are there any conceptual issues? Or?
Yeah. So what it's doing is that it's picking up that in the volunteer controller and in the organization controller, it's got the same. It's got the same code there.
Right.
And that's what it's complaining about. But I can't take it out because otherwise it stops. It doesn't put it in the title tag.
Sure. So this is
the site hero. If you scroll down so we can see the last.
Similar code found in one other location. These 2 things.
Yeah.
We've got set tags there, and so this is saying volunteer ops controller, and I guess it's in one other location. Yeah, basically, so we've got the same code in the volunteer ops controller and the organizations controller.
Yeah, and that's why it's complaining.
Okay, so if we then, I mean, if I open the code base, which is local support, okay, and so I'm on your branch, so I've got all of your code, and so there specifically it's complaining about this is line 131 of organizations controller.rb, organizations controller there, this one. So it's saying that we've got the identical tag here and also in volunteer ops controller.
Yeah.
So would the solution be to move this code into the application controller, like so? And basically what that will mean is, well, if they are identical, which is what Code Climate seems to have identified, then we can kind of do a refactoring where we pull the code out of the 2 individual controllers and up into the parent controller, and then it can just sit here.
Okay.
I guess the issue is that actually they're not completely identical, are they?
No, they're not completely identical because your title is called organization.name.
Yeah, okay.
And your volunteer is called volunteer_app title.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean, I guess that the thing to do there, in order to do that pulling up, what we would need to do is kind of produce another method that we might call, for example, entity.
Okay.
Like this, and then so we would replace this, entity thing throughout here, so that the parent class had effectively this generic method. Yeah. Okay. And then we could define entity on organizations controller and say that this was going to be organization. And then we could define entity on volunteer ops controller and say that it was going to be, we now no longer need that, and say that it was going to be volunteer op. Like that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I mean, that's just one way that.
Yeah,
we could.
Yeah.
We could
I think I have to test it to understand it.
Sure. Yes. Well, I think what we'll do is, I mean, that's the kind of, and sometimes these, I certainly wouldn't necessarily expect you to be able to see the way out of each of the code climate issues, and so maybe we need to spend some more time on it. So I think German and Gonzalo are both here and both looking to vote on a feature. So rather than going into more of those code climate, what am I dropping on the floor? That's on the phone. Sorry. Let's do a vote on a feature. We're in the local support project. That's the context that we're in. I don't know, Lara, is there, maybe I will just tell German and Gonzalo a little bit about the project. And Lara, do you want to have a little look in the pivotal tracker and see if there's a feature, possibly also in this search engine optimization set that we might want to vote on?
Okay, great.
Great. Jump in. Yes. So let me go and grab a different window. And here we go. So I'm just going to share the screen there. Get back onto this. So local support is open source software. It supports the Harrow Community Network, which is a directory of charities and volunteer opportunities in Northwest London, which is where I'm based. And so this is our oldest Agile Ventures project, and we've got an epic going on, which is search engine optimization. Our client is Volunteer Action Harrow Cooperative, and they're keen for the site to be recognized as supporting, volunteer and helping volunteers find different, volunteer opportunities and so on. So Lara's has some expertise in the search engine optimization side, and has been working on some of these features, doing some pull requests. So we're using Pivotal Tracker, but actually I've got here the Pivotal Tracker for local support. I'll just pop the link. I'll pop the link for all of these things into the chat here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. That was a bit of code there. I do that sometimes. I grab like a thing and I copy something and then I paste it. There we go. That's the link to the tracker. This is the link to the live system. And so here we go. Were you seeing something on the backlog that we might vote on, or in the Icebox even?
I'm just busy setting it up for. We're doing async voting now, hey?
Well, I guess actually, since we're all here, there's no reason why we shouldn't. I think probably simpler to just do it as a live vote in here. I don't know if German and Gonzalo will have access to the Slack channel at the moment, so probably simpler. Yeah, you having posted it into the Slack channel is great. You posted it to me. Yeah, that's great.
I can do async if you want me to do.
No problem at all. Okay. I think we're absolutely fine. We've got this thing. So we've got this feature here, which is that ensure that the about and other static pages all have title tags. So we have various static pages that should perhaps have their own special titles and tags beyond the defaults. So if we look at the sites again, and now this is the live system, we've got part of the optimization, which Lara has been helping us with, is so that now when we're on an individual organization page, the title of the is adjusted to reflect the name of that organization, which helps with the Google indexing. And if we look inside the code base, we should see, shouldn't we, Lara, at the top of the page, it's got too big there. I just want that. Oh, wait, that bit. No. Let's pull that down. Where have we got? It's inside
Your
the
head.
head. It's in the head, isn't it? There. So we've got this combination. Here's the title there, and then we've got these meta. I guess, and when we're saying tags, we're referring to which do we mean all of these meta things? Do we? Lara?
Yeah. Everything that says meta is a tag.
Yeah. So all of those tags. So we've got a framework here that's allowing us to put, tags on there. That we've also got these sort of like static pages, the about us, the contact info, disclaimer, and so on. And these should at least have some default title. They should have perhaps some default tags, maybe some special ones or what have you. And if I go back to, so that's what this story is about here. So this is the story then that we are proposing to vote on, and voting would basically be giving this a value of 1, 2, or 3. We've got this little ability to estimate the number of points we think the story has. I think I'll just stop. Lara, you had some questions before which we resolved. You're happy with the scope of this feature now?
Yeah, I am happy with the scope of this feature.
Great. So I get the sense you're probably ready to vote. So German and Gonzalo, in the chat, if you have any questions about not just this feature, any aspect of the site, anything else that you think you need to know to help work out how to vote, and we'll be voting for like 1, 2, or 3 in a minute, then do pop those questions into the chat. I will take a sip of my tea to give you time to type.
Are we going to vote? We're going to vote in Slack. Huh?
I think probably let's vote in the group chat, just because I think German and Gonzalo may not necessarily be in the Slack now. Okay. We'll do it old school. This is the old school synchronous voting group chat, just like we, back in the day when before even Thomas had joined us. We were. This is how it all used to work. German. No trouble at all. No trouble at all. We'll get you set up with Slack at some point. The key thing here, obviously, German and Gonzalo, is get you focused on the story. I know it's difficult, potentially a different. You can see some voting going on there, some different project in the background. A project that maybe you've never seen before, features that you've never seen before. Really, for the purpose, the estimates are not what you actually so important. It's more just that process of sort of thinking about how complex they are, practicing that. There's no pressure to get the right number. I'll just say that my general rule of thumb is that if a feature simply involves changes to the interface, to the views, or particularly simple changes to the views, then that's likely to be 1 point. You can imagine, of course, having switching over from Bootstrap to Foundation, or doing a big reworking, a custom version. Obviously, there are changes to the views that could be many more points, but generally a simple change to the view or a simple change to a little bit of the logic might be 1 point. 2 points, I would usually say that's more of the order of making a database change, going to be a migration, maybe adding a new gem, maybe one that you've added in a different project but hasn't been used in the current project. And then 3 points would be a significant change, various migrations, multiple new gems, and so on and so forth. So that's my rule of thumb for 1, 2, or 3. So the way this works is, what we do is, in the group chat, we get ready with our vote. We type the number in, but we don't press return. And then I'm going to give a countdown, and we will press return together. Now, I'm going to assume from German and Gonzalo, you haven't asked for any further clarification on the story, that you're ready to vote. I've got my number ready to vote. I think I can imagine Lara has got her number ready to vote. So unless somebody leaps out and screams and stops me, I'm going to get ready to start doing our countdown. So I've got my vote ready. Everybody, fingers on your return button. So I'll count down 3, 2, 1, go. Let's vote. Press that return button, and there we have unanimity. That's how you pronounce it. Fantastic. That's great. So I'll now set that as 1 point. I will close that there. We'll see that story now. Oh, if I press a different button, where is that? Is that? I've now lost it in the story. Which is the one we voted on?
Just click on Slack, and I slacked you the link.
Oh, you did. You just slapped me the link. I probably actually, if I put what I should have done, rather than pressing close, is I should have pressed this, like that diagonal button there, which would take me back to the project, but also show me where it is. So we've got that in the icebox there. That's voted on. That's now available should someone want to start work on it. They click start, then move it into the backlog, and it'll be added on the end there. And that's how we do that. So German and Gonzalo, thanks so much for taking part with us. I'll give you the links that you need to submit for your homework assignments. Here is the first link there. That's the ticket that you voted on, and then I'll also give you the link to the YouTube, which is of the Scrum that you participated in. And there we go. You're all done. Great to meet you. And thanks very much. Great to meet you too. So yes, I guess I should probably get on with other things. I guess we've got a minute there to maybe just quickly review those other code climate issues on your pull request there, if you've got a moment, Lara. Let's have a little look at the other ones. So we had one which is similar code in the application. This class with too many lines, that's a pain. If we just go and have a look at the volunteer ops controller, I mean, that's sort of almost, that's the kind of thing that we might add as a separate refactoring ticket. I mean, you can sort of see how here, like, just in order to fix one of the problems, I was starting to add, you know, a different thinking. I mean, there's almost, you know, a more complex refactoring here to have the kind of entity, and then maybe it's like, I always wondered, is there a way in Rails, so Rails gets a model associated with controller? Because if you think about it, like we're in here, there we go, model name equals controller name classified. Does that actually work there? So it could be that one way of having this set tags thing in the application controller, I guess actually even if we've got the model name, we're not necessarily going to have got the right instance of it, so that's not going to work. Yeah, we would. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself there. Yeah, we have to do the mapping to indicate which is the actual instance of the volunteer op. I mean, I can actually start to see, and this is me going to get crazy. Like we've got this set organization before action, and we could imagine having, like, actually, and this might solve two birds in one stone. It starts to get a little bit complicated, and maybe we should just create refactoring tickets for this and get it pulled in. But just, you know, we could imagine having, instead of set organization, we could kind of have set entity, and that this would, like, you can sort of see that there's generic code for the way we do set volunteer op is sort of similar to the way that we do set organization. Even as I kind of dive into it there, I'm sort of thinking that's being more complicated than it needs to be, really. I think I wouldn't encourage us to go down that path. Yeah, I mean, I think probably just defining a method to be able to kind of dereference the thing there. Yeah, I mean, the other way to go there would be, if we don't want to start making the class longer, is to have it so that the set tags thing, take a method. We could have it so that set tags took an argument, so that we had, we've got a question from Gonzalo about the assignment. We need a YouTube URL or Slack link in the case you provide us the link of this. Yeah, so Gonzalo, did you see I put two links there in the group chat just above, which are, one is the link to the Pivotal Tracker story, and the other one is the YouTube. So you've got the YouTube URL. You don't need a Slack link because you did your voting here in a Hangout, and the YouTube URL there. I'll just paste those two things for you again. That's exactly what, those are the two things that you should be able to pop into your thing there. I'll just put that straight in. Yeah. Just going back to the code here. Yeah, what you can imagine is we could have something here where we did set tags and we did super. I wonder if it let us do it actually. Like we just call super with @organization. This is a lovely little. So you can sort of see here. Another way to do it is it. I don't know if it'll actually let me do that. Probably won't. Or I'll just call it like set. Let me do it like this. I'm wondering if it will. What do we do? I mean, this is like, probably we would want something like this, right? And then what we would do is we would define set tags in here to take an entity like this. See what I've done there?
Okay.
So now application controller has the generic code for setting tags, and it can take an argument. And then here in organizations controller, we have set organization tags, and you can imagine what we would have in the volunteer controller would be something of the order of set volunteer op tags. And then we'd have volunteer op there. Naturally, to get this all to work, we need to update this, this method call here. I mean, that would become set volunteer. So that's the kind. That seems like a reasonable thing to do there. I think in the process, though, we probably won't end up reducing the class length here. That's the kind of thing that could become a refactoring ticket. If we have a look at the class, I mean, it's quite important that what this is telling us is that basically we've got domain entities starting to appear here in the private methods of our controller. I mean, this is a sort of, there's a process by which the code grows. We've got outside of the private methods, we've got a perfectly reasonable set of the standard CRUD update things there. We've then got let's get rid of that. We've then got we start to have various other bits and sorts of pieces in here, and there should be a pressure as our private methods balloon and expand. That's sort of telling us that maybe that there are some domain entities that we haven't identified yet. Looking at it, I'm not immediately seeing things. It may be that some of these can be pulled out into the parent class, into application controller, and be shared across things like this one here, for example. Yeah, in fact, these ones, look like they could be generic. And so, but yeah, I wish I had a whiteboard. I'd draw some diagrams for you. German has a question. Usually, how do I participate in a feature to do the pull request on Pivotal Tracker? So yeah, so German, having participated in the vote, it could be that you worked specifically on that feature. I mean, so it doesn't have to be, but obviously it's a feature that you understand. So I mean, you and Gonzalo could indeed pair on that feature. The next step for you to work on that feature would be to get set up with the local support project. I'd certainly strongly recommend getting into the Slack environment. We've got a Slack channel there where we can give you lots of help and support, with installing the necessary software, all the bits and pieces. I've got some new documentation actually for joining projects, which has got links to the Slack rooms and so on. I'm just going to put that link into the channel there for you. I'll show you on the screen share as well, like so. So this is about joining any Agile Ventures projects. You can see their local support there. I'm the project manager for local support, so I'm the go-to person. Any issues that you have there. You've done some of the things already, which is you've already got involved in a vote. You've joined a Scrum or a stand-up. But local support, I mean, I've got a link there to the Slack channel. You'll get an invite to Slack if you join Agile Ventures. You may have it before. Again, you just reach out to me individually if you haven't got an invite to the Slack thing. But yeah, the key thing there, if you want to do a pull request on local support, is we've got our contributing.md, and that talks about the mechanics of it. The key thing really is to get set up with local support, which you can do through, we've got our docs there, and we've got installation instructions there for installing local support on different bits and pieces. One thing I will say, actually, just you may or may not know, the group chat here that I'm posting in for the Hangout disappears once we finish the Hangout. So do take copies of those links that I've posted before you leave the Hangout. And I know Gonzalo's connection was coming and going, and so he won't have access to the history. So anyway, I'll stick around at the end in case you need those links. But just look at this one. So the other one there is, the final one is, this method has too many lines, and it's sort of talking about that whole set tags thing of itself. And this is one of these ones where, to be honest, I think it's not too many lines, because what it is we're creating these structures and we're passing them through. But one way to just sort of shut that up is we could say we've got this, what did the OG stands for? Open graph or something, was that right?
Yeah, something like that.
So what we can do there, and it's sort of, you can see it's sort of friendly, we can give a bit more, we can do things like this. See, where we sort of, rather than just sort of nesting the thing there, we can say, well, this is sort of a chunk of something. Let's say what this is. And then, I mean, it may still end up complaining about it being too long a method. I think this, that just happens to be a way in which, what's the word? We can represent a hash structure and so on. And that's more kind of a problem with Code Climate for not, again, it's perhaps applying the short method mantra too strongly. I mean, the other thing there is, we could even just make that into a separate method where open graph becomes, it just returns that thing there. And that's another way. I mean, I have mixed feelings about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can argue that this is sort of good documentation, like to the extent that we have very nested code, then it maybe takes more mental effort to kind of interpret and understand it. It's you can see if we've broken up this, we've kind of, rather than having a, the alternative we could have done something where if we had the original code that had, if we just sort of compare them side by side, we have the original code and we stick this in here. You can imagine, and you see this, in certain places, you can imagine that we had, you might add a comment here saying this is open graph. Like you can imagine seeing, I'm sure you've seen perhaps code like this, yeah, and people adding data there. But you see here what we've done is this is done the same thing. We've commented on what this is, but we've commented on it using the method name.
Yeah.
And that has the big advantage that this can't go out of date, like here, in as much as like it's sort of like if someone starts changing this and says, all right, this is now open banana or whatever, we're going to get an error there. Yeah. Whereas the problem with the comment is once someone starts, there's no way that the test can check that this is still appropriate.
Yeah.
So there's a little. Anyway, so what I would say is have a little play with those. Code Climate's a little bit irritating in that I don't know if we've got a good command line thing for Code Climate, because sometimes you end up having to like you have these little battles with Code Climate, and it takes a little while for the pull request to actually tell you what the result is, and you're kind of like, oh, but I guess actually rather than a command line, and what you can be doing is you can be running Code Climate on your branch. They've got a command line interface. Yeah, there you go. And then the Docker container. I'm not sure if that's what we want really. Anyway, yeah, have a little bit. I will. Don't feel like you have to get all of them fixed, but have a little play, and I'll take another look tomorrow, and we'll see about getting this version. I may, make refactoring tickets or fix some of them myself by pushing things directly. Have I got access to your branch, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So I could push things in and fix if they need to be. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Cool. Any other questions or thoughts or concerns?
No, that's great. Thank you for that.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. German and Gonzalo, thanks for hanging around. If you've got any other questions, I'll stop the broadcast there.